Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. We've got the fair value gap partially filled. This coming from Stock Money Lizards here. Not sure if this is already it, but I have been starting to fill up my BTC trading position between $114,000 and $115,000 per coin. So fair value gap, guys, of course, in crypto markets are volatile, and what we're seeing today is exactly just that, the Bitcoin chart on the 1 hour, and yeah, I'm going to get to the XRP chart in a second. First, though, I want to explain to you guys, this is perfectly normal, and the rest of cryptocurrencies obviously do follow Bitcoin, so as we're seeing Bitcoin now come down, filling this gap here, bouncing off of its support down and around here, in and around 100 and, where are we here, 114,500. You guys can see Bitcoin, Bitcoin is wicking down in there. All right, if I take it off auto there, you guys can see the wick down in there, and it is now finding support down and around this region. This is where last-minute traders, 11th hour stockpilers of cryptocurrency are loading up, like Stock Money Lizards. He's also saying the CME gap update. Okay, a lot of people told me it's not going to happen. It always does, or at least greater than 70% of the time it does, and it does not mean that we are necessarily seeing a bearish flip. So with regards to bearish sentiment, and I'm going to talk about M2 money supply too in this video in a second, I want to show you guys, we've been talking about XRP and the support holding up for XRP, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are wondering, now that we're down under this level, is it the end of the world? No. I mean, XRP was bouncing off support, and that was looking very, very bullish for us for the moment. Now that we are below this level in here, is it the end of the world? No, the answer is no, and that is because Bitcoin is holding up, as I just showed you guys. So, I mean, ultimately, this is why I say, this is why when people tell me, why do you talk about Bitcoin so much in your videos? Guys, it's important to talk about Bitcoin because Bitcoin is the leader of the market. It is the king crypto. It's the one with the most market cap. I mean, we've got the total chart, the total 2 chart, and the total 3 chart, and the only reason we have total 2 and total 3 is to analyze markets without Bitcoin because Bitcoin is so influential. Sometimes you want to see, some other metrics that do not involve Bitcoin. This is why we talk about Bitcoin. It is influential. And, it is important to see what Bitcoin is doing before we understand what the rest of the market is doing. But for a more detailed analysis, you guys can follow me at patreon.com/workingmoneychannel. I have rolled back prices. They are old school prices, baby, $5 a month. But you have to subscribe and stay subscribed to lock in at $5. This is where I'm talking about everything market related, XRP price targets, the future of this crypto bull run, the near future, midterm, long term. Follow me, patreon.com/workingmoneychannel for more information on that. Let's get back to Stock Money Lizard's tweet here. So it just means, guys, that there is liquidity, and liquidity is usually taken before the next move up. Don't worry, your 120,000 Bitcoin position will flip green again in the coming weeks. So guys, it's just the storm before the clear skies, according to Stock Money Lizards here. We are likely going to see another move up. I mean, it is only August the 1st if you guys are watching this video on the day that I'm releasing it. But sentiment is back to neutral territory. Look at that, back at 57. We got altcoin season back at 35. Market is down by over 4% today within the last 24 hours. So same with the CMC 100, down 4.4%, and mostly red in the space today. I mean, profits had to be taken. People are dumping. People are a little scared. I don't see why they're scared. We've got a lot of bullish sentiment, a lot of tailwinds here that should in fact be pushing crypto up. So the fact that crypto is going or retracing, I guess we should say, a little bit right now, this is a very good opportunity for some people who might think they don't have enough crypto. In Q2, XRP beat Ethereum on Coinbase, making up 13% of consumer transactions. Revenue is up 10%, guys, in quarter one. So XRP even spiked to 18% at one point. This coming from Zafe Crypto. Check this out here. XRP up 13%, did better than Ethereum. Ethereum only up 12%. So those were quarter two 2025 numbers here coming out of Coinbase. We also have this, guys, Dom from EZA. Been catching up with many ex-coworkers from my days at Blackstone and Goldman Sachs in New York City this week. Every single one of them is looking to tokenize their assets and ask me what blockchains are the best options. Well, Dom, he's bullish on XRP. If you guys didn't catch his prediction, $1,000 per XRP by the year 2030. I'll link that video up there. Yeah, him and his brother over there at EZA, they were being interviewed, and that is his public prediction, $1,000 per XRP within the next 5 years. That's not long, considering XRP is currently trading in and around $3 per coin. Actually, if we do just a little bit of math there, 1,000 divided by 3, That would be a 333x over the span of 5 years. That is way better than what XRP has done over the span of the last 5 years. Just think of it that way, maybe. Anyway, okay, so Dom is bullish. We've got, the metrics coming from Coinbase. That is bullish. From the SEC, too, guys, we have this. Okay, this was coming from Paul Atkins. Today, I would like to discuss what Commissioner Peirce and I are calling Project Crypto, which will be the SEC's North Star in aiding President Trump in his historic efforts to make America the crypto capital of the world. So this is a press release, a transcription from Paul Atkins. But before I discuss our plans for crypto market primacy, let's take a few moments to revisit some inflection points in the history of our financial markets. So he goes over some of the inflection points there. Not going to necessarily go over that, but I will link this in the description if you guys are interested. But we're forging the future now, okay? America's leadership in the golden age of finance. So today, I would like the world to go on notice that under my leadership, the SEC will not stand idly by and watch innovations develop overseas while our capital markets remain stagnant. To achieve President Trump's vision of making America the crypto capital of the world, the SEC must holistically consider the potential benefits and risks of moving our markets from off-chain assets to an environment that is on-chain assets. So guys, they are creating Project Crypto, a commission-wide initiative to modernize the securities rules and regulations to enable America's financial markets and move on-chain. We know about the Genius Act. He talks a little bit about that and some other companies that are involved in this. Hester Peirce, obviously a big proponent of this as well. So now Project Crypto will involve a broad range of initiatives across the commission. First, we will work to bring crypto asset distribution back to America. The days of convoluted offshore corporate structures, decentralized theater, and confusion over security status are over. President Trump has said that America is in its golden age, and under our new agenda, our crypto asset economy will be as well. So there's a lot to go over here, but essentially they are, putting it out there, putting it out to the public, putting it out to Wall Street, guys, that this is bullish for crypto. Of course, this is why Dom's friends over there or ex-colleagues at Blackstone and Goldman Sachs are wondering, where should I be tokenizing? Because he's the tokenization expert, I'm sure, among his friend group there or colleague group. We also have Eric Balchunas. He says any coin with over 6 months of futures on Coinbase derivatives will get the green light by September, maybe next month, guys, or October, a couple of months away. Listen to this.
I thought that there was a couple releases over the past couple days that were, again, showed a much more lenient pro-crypto SEC.
Yeah, I mean, we were worried there for a minute. Yago and I had Matt Hogan on last Thursday, and that was the day that they rejected or indefinitely paused the Crypto 10. And I think people were starting to worry a little bit about the SEC, but it seems like maybe they're just waiting to get their guidance for ETF approvals in general together before they start sweeping, doing individual ones. And we're probably going to get just this major sweep. Well, I mean, once they have that guidance and if you follow these rules, you're approved, right?
Yeah. Did you see the guidance came out yesterday? Pretty much.
There you go.
Yeah. So, and just I don't know if people have caught that, but that was, in fact, almost bigger news than the options. Basically, if the coin has futures connected to it that trade on Coinbase derivatives exchange for 6 months, you can be ETF-able. So all the usual suspects are in. There's about 15 coins, I think, that will be approved based on that guidance. So look for September, October, about 10 new coins coming out with ETF packaging in a spot product.
And amongst those coins, obviously XRP. So, I mean, they don't name it there. There are several coins that do fall within those parameters. So interesting news there. Some great insight from Eric Balchunas from Bloomberg. Wanted to thank Zafe Crypto for posting that. We also have this from Cowboy Crypto. I've seen several know-it-alls saying the White House hates Ripple and that they want nothing to do with them. But why would they cite a CNBC article quoting Brad Garlinghouse in their crypto report if they hate them so much? Exactly. This is ridiculous stuff. There's a lot of noise out there. And so you got to rein it in. I mean, it's tough to decide which people you're going to listen to. And hopefully I'm helping out to kind of, maybe demystify some of this stuff. Anyway, Cowboy Crypto posts this. Firms turn their attention overseas due to regulatory uncertainties, regulation by enforcement, and systematic debanking, the results of Biden-era policies towards the crypto industry. So, it was the Biden era that caused all this. The Elizabeth Warrens of the world, the Chuck Schumers of the world, the Gary Genslers of the world. Ugh, gross. Anyway, so we're waiting for interest cuts. I mean, this is ultimately what's going to get more money coming into the crypto space. What, gets more money into the stock market? Actually, let me just take a look real quickly at what the S&P 500 is doing. Let's throw that on the daily. And I'm recording this video currently before the markets open. So, we're seeing down days currently for the S&P. Let's look at the DJI. Down day for the DJI. It's looking for, and this was yesterday's close. Okay, yesterday, NASDAQ's actually up. So NASDAQ is up, but a couple of the other stock markets are down. Now, we are waiting for interest cuts. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent just said Fed Chair Jerome Powell's replacement is probably coming within a few months. Listen to this.
It's not unusual to see an appointment announced, I don't know, well before then. Do you have any idea on when we might hear what the president is thinking in terms of Chair Powell's replacement?
I do. I'm going to be.
Can you tell us?
I'm going to be. Sure, Joe. If you could just lean forward, I'll tell you a little.
That's Connie Chung whispered in my ear. Yeah,
so
that's right.
We are putting together a very good list of candidates, and remember, there are going to be 2 seats opening up. Governor Kugler will be leaving in, I can't remember whether it's January, February, Chair Powell in May. So there will be 2 seats opening up. I'm putting together a list for President, Chief of Staff to review. We'll be interviewing people. I would expect that we could have an announcement by the end of the year.
All right, an announcement by the end of the year. So they're putting together some lists. As you guys heard it there, there's a couple of candidates on the list there. There will be 2 seats opening up. I'm putting together a list for the President, Chief of Staff to review. I would expect that we would have an announcement by the end of the year. This coming from Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary of the United States. In the meantime, though, we need money coming into the crypto market. We need these prices to pump. And guys, we've talked about M2 money supply quite a bit on this channel, so just kind of going back to this, I saw this from Brett_ETH on Twitter. Global M2 has formed a lower high and lower low. Now, I also had a question from one of my Patreon subscribers. One of the great things about the Patreon, guys, my DMs are open, so I address all your questions. Sign up for the Patreon if you want direct access to me. And, sometimes in addition to answering you directly, I will, maybe make your question part of a topic in a video. This user said, "Hi, hope you're doing well. I just had a look at global M2, and it seems to be dropping sharply according to my indicator. The Fed seems not to be inclined to decrease rates anytime soon because of the GDP growth and overall good economic condition. Do you think the Fed could decide to keep interest rates high for way longer than expected by the majority, and the M2 supply could keep falling sharply, leading to the end of this bull market?" So that is the question. Of course, when we see M2 money supply drop, that is generally an indication that we're turning bearish, but how long is that going to be? So he goes on to say, let's say there would be one last big or small wave 5. Would be happy if you could answer in this chat or address this in one of your videos. Thank you very much. So I wanted to thank this particular Patreon subscriber for posting that. Now, I'm going to address this. So global M2 money supply forming a lower high. Using the 84-day offset, the current peak is expected by late September. Again, this coming from Brett here on Twitter. As noted in my December post below, the past 3 Bitcoin peaks occurred 525 days and 532 days post-halving. Now, that's an important metric to pay attention to. Global M2's current peak is 518 days after the halving. Is it a coincidence? 1 week before this peak is the September FOMC meeting, where rate cuts are anticipated. Could the final vertical line on global M2 signal a blow-off top amid rate cut excitement? This is too easy, though. What do you guys think? So, guys, this is what we're seeing in terms of global M2 money supply. So it is coming down, did just make its first lower low. And as he's noting here, 518 bars equals 518 days. So do we have a couple months left? Maybe we do. Colin Talks Crypto here also did a video on this. 2 months until large Bitcoin correction or final top. I'm going to play you guys a clip of this video. Listen to this.
It looks like in 2 months, regardless of whether this is a final top or whether this is a sub-peak, we are in for both a parabolic move, but also a pretty significant crash or correction. The global M2 money supply is an aggregate of the global liquidity of the top nations on Earth combined into one line and then shifted forward by 90 days in this case. And you're probably mostly all familiar with that by now. Now, what has been happening with the global M2 money supply is that it has been in a steep uptrend for a period of 6 months. We're already about 4 months into that. And we have about 2 months to go before this point right here. And I'm just going to draw a little box because this is our point of interest for today of discussion. And then we have another month of data that is basically downtrended. And if you step back, first of all, this is extremely bullish. We have this massive, massive uptrend. But we also, right now, from the last month of data, we have a downtrend of about a month. And that is the largest downtrend, the largest decline in global M2 that we have seen this entire move. It's bigger than the corrective move right here, which we are just kind of climbing out of right now in Bitcoin. So this downturn is larger than the move we saw back in June. And since we've pushed the global M2 line forward by 90 days, this means that this drop in global liquidity could reflect itself in Bitcoin around late September, right here, or October, just 2 months from today. So the big question is, will this be a Bitcoin sub-peak, or will it mark the final top? And I'm going to discuss both outcomes and the potentialities of this. So if this is just a sub-peak, it does look like a fairly significant correction could be in store in the month of late September/October and possibly longer. And we'll have to see what the M2 line does next to see how long it could last. Obviously, if the line kept moving down in the next several weeks, that would be very bearish. That would be pretty bad. That would be the largest decline since this decline in global M2. And I would say if that happens, if it drops down this far, that would make a fairly strong case for it being a final top and not just a sub-peak. But I'm not ready to make that call just yet, because while this is a large drop, this isn't the magnitude I would expect. Obviously, the data hasn't come in yet to determine whether this is the final top or not. So that's a scenario if it's a sub-peak. Now, if it's the final top, that means that we only have about 2 more months remaining in this bull run cycle, which I just want to make a comment on this. I feel like that's not very likely that the cycle is going to end in just 2 months. But I will also not ignore the data. Like if this M2 line just keeps dropping and dropping and dropping and it doesn't go back up, that's a big red flag, and I will not ignore that. I will also look at other metrics and cross-corroborate that, but I think that that would be pretty telling if global M2 just tanked. Like, we know that global M2 can give us a false sense of security. It can keep heading up while Bitcoin drops. But a scenario where global M2 actually just keeps dropping, that's not even trying to give us a sense of false hope. It's telling us directly global liquidity is leaving the system. So I would say that's even more bearish. I think that if the global M2 line does keep dropping, which I really don't expect it to do, but we have to watch. Like, I can't predict the future. Global M2 has already shifted forward by 90 days, but I'm certainly not going to guess at what the next global M2 data is going to be because I don't know.
So Colin here, a little more optimistic and, saying, he doesn't actually think we are near the top. Now, if we even just take a look at what he's saying, 2 months, that would bring us, and he's saying, it's unlikely, and he thinks Bitcoin is actually going to keep going up after 2 months. If we just take a look, all right, let's take 2 months here, 2 months away. We know it's the beginning of August right now. That would take us to roughly the beginning of October. And guys, if you've been following the Patreon, you kind of know where my thoughts are at with regards to this. Remember where the halving date was from back in, halving date. So the Bitcoin halving date was right here. Okay, guys, that was April 2024, April 20th, 2024. That was the Bitcoin halving date. And if we are to take a measurement all the way to here, guys, that would take us to about 532 days. Okay, that's early October. So are we seeing the peak? How accurate is this? Looking at Brett's measurements, late September, early October, he's looking at those halving days as well. We really have to see where M2 money supply goes. And for more detailed information on my thoughts with regards to this, you can follow me at patreon.com/workingmoneychannel. Again, only $5 a month. I've rolled back prices, but you got to subscribe and stay subscribed to lock in. Guys, we do not want to mess this up. This could be the last hurrah for cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, for XRP. The other thing is we need to know how high this market's going to go, how much liquidity is in the market, because if we're expecting these very high prices for XRP based on a spec market without real world utility, well, that's going to have a large impact on our decision making. So check out the Patreon if you guys are interested in seeing where my mind is at. I also have the Working Money Channel merch store. If you guys are interested in, maybe purchasing some Working Money Channel merch, link is in the description of the video. That's just my opinion. I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.